Hello, my name is Patrick Kiernan, and this is my informative speech. If you lived in Kansas the past 2 years, you have definitely heard of the Kansas City Royals. The Kansas City Royals are an American professional baseball team. They were founded in 1969, and the Royals are part of the Major League Baseball Association. They are in the Central Division of the American League. There are four other teams in the division, which are the Cleveland Indians, the Chicago White Sox, the Minnesota Twins, and then, of course, our rivals, the Detroit Tigers. Since the 1973 season, the Royals have played at Kauffman Stadium, which was formerly known as Royals Stadium. The Royals have appeared in 3 total World Series and have won 2 of them. They shocked the world in 1985, and they shocked the world again in 2014 when they made it all the way to Game 7 before losing to the San Francisco Giants. But they didn't let that heartbreak get to them last year, because last year in 2015, they became the champions of the world. Beginning the 2015 season, all you heard from the media is that the Royals had a fluke last year, and they will never make it back to the playoffs. They entered the season projected only 4th in their division, out of 5 teams, I may remind you. The Royals get no respect. But can you really blame the media? I mean, they did have losing seasons for 14 seasons. They haven't been to the playoffs since 1985, which was the last year they won the World Series. But how ironic was it the last time they made it to the playoffs, they won the World Series. And then, in the first time in 29 years, they made it all the way to Game 7. Yes, I said 29 long years of baseball was played, and not a single trip to October was on their record. But the first time they make the playoffs, they come 90 feet short from possibly winning a World Series. But just to get into the playoffs in 2014, they had to win 15 of their last 20 just to get into the wild card game. A play-in game that most teams that get into get knocked out by the top-seeded team. But that didn't happen. They went to the freaking World Series. But still, no respect. The computer systems that analysts go off of projected them at the bottom of their division again. Teams started causing fights with the Royals because they didn't respect them. And the Royals didn't back down. They took the lead of the Central Division and never looked back. They led at the All-Star break, and they clinched the Central Division on the very last game of the season, which I was honored to be at. The Royals don't have money. They're a small market team in the middle of the United States. They rely on all their farm system players to make a splash when they get to the major leagues. And that's exactly what happened. The Royals have a special bond as a club. Something you don't see very often, but they act like a big family. And that's what happens when all your players literally grow up with each other. All of our players have came up through our minor league clubs and ultimately came together to win a championship. Hosmer, our first baseman, was talking to one of our coaches last year in an interview. The fans were already excited at this point after the 2014 World Series appearance. We were perfectly content with that. But Rusty Kuntz, the first base coach for the Royals, told Hosmer, if you guys win a World Series, then you will realize how a city really will come together, just for a team. And that's exactly what they did. The parade was something you never saw before. There was over 750,000 people walking around the streets of Kansas City. I still think there was over 1 million, but that's probably because I was there and got tired of walking into people. But that is a day that no one will ever forget. The city of Kansas City was blue. Although the Royals were a team that was always at the bottom of the standings and went on the longest postseason drought, I grew up loving the team of the Royals. They were the hometown team. I always went to the games with my parents. And then the last 2 years, they rewarded all the fans that stuck with them and made it to the first postseason appearance. All the fans were excited about that, but they didn't want to stop there, and I'm glad they didn't. They went on to the World Series. They came up short 90 feet, but who really cares? The loss to the fans didn't matter. We made it to the World Series. Even after that, the experts said that we wouldn't make the playoffs in 2015, and the Royals still proved them wrong by winning the World Series and becoming champions of the world. And that is something that still gives me chills, and I will never forget that. Thank you.